What's up, everybody? Dan here with Dan and Sarah Makers, and we are coming back at you with another Tool Tuesday. Today's episode, we are going into part 2 of our level series. In our previous week, we talked about torpedo levels, some unique small levels, post levels, and then some of the 18 to 24 inch long levels. Today, we are going to look at some of the longer ones, the 4-footers, and the 6.5 foot, 6 foot range of levels. Unfortunately, I don't have some of the other specialty levels that are out there that are really common. They get much more expensive as you get special features of the longer levels, but we'll at least touch on them a little bit and tell what features and benefits are good for those types of levels and what are actually out there. So as far as I guess I would consider it the workhorse of levels that most people would have, is they would have just some kind of a 4-foot level, which is pretty typical of this one. This is a really old one that's seen better days. I've had it in storage for quite a while, so it's got cobwebs and goop on it. The level vials are filled with dust, but like I said in the previous video, this one has vials that are secured with screws. So this one can be adjusted, but like I said, adjustable level vials are prone to going out of adjustment or the screws falling out or something. So this is a really simple basic aluminum I-beam level. I'm not even sure who makes this one. It's pretty well worn off, but it's simple and it will do the job as long as it's good. Here at the end of the video, I'll show you how to check a level, because a level's only as accurate as it is to true. So if it's not true and you're building everything based on the fact that it's not true, everything's going to be out of plumb or out of level, or vice versa. So there is a relatively simple, easy way to check your levels for both plumb and level. And that's another term I'll get mixed up every now and again. So hopefully I don't in this video. So that's a pretty simple basic level. Actually the next level I think I got was this for a 4-foot level. It was this Levolution PC1. I don't know if they make these anymore. You can find them on Amazon listed, but honestly, if you go and click on the product itself, it's no longer available. They don't know when it'll show up. So this was my first box beam level. It's a 4-footer. It's kind of interesting in that it actually has on these vials what would be the plumb vials, so they're leveling this way, so like door jambs and posts and things like that. They actually have an adjustment screw on them, so you can put an Allen wrench in there and rotate these vials just slightly to make sure they're true. It also has on both ends, it's got this little keyhole type insert on both sides, both ends, so 4 different places, and it's actually got a rafter hook that it was an accessory that you could purchase. You clip it in there into that keyhole, you slide it in, and you tighten up this thumb screw, and then you have a rafter hook. So if you're up in trusses or on a deck or a floor or something like that, you can hook your level there and not have it leaned up against something, slide over, sitting on the ground, someone accidentally steps on it, whatever. So this was it was a nice level. They had a whole series of them. They were made in the USA. They had their accuracy and temperature ratings marked on them. And yeah, I don't know if they're still out there. So if they are, let me know. They're kind of a unique featured level out there. Then later on, I got into this series. I bought a torpedo level, the 2-footer, a 4-footer, and the 6.5-footer that you see up over here. I bought these all at the same time, kind of as a series, so I had a match set at the time. This is made by Empire. Again, it's an aluminum I-beam level. It's much heavier than the first level we showed. It's got a lot of cutouts for handholds, things like that. It's got 3 vials. These are pretty well set, encased in the beam itself, so they don't adjust per se. They do have some screws, but they're not adjustable. It's flat on top. It's got a little viewport for the level portion, so you can look down on your level from the top. And then it's got a piece of magnet embedded all the way along this edge. that allows you to stick it up against a steel door frame, a metal column, post, steel stud, whatever, and plumb off that way. So it's nice, but like I said, a lot of my levels that have magnets, they have tape on them just because I would be working with some kind of finished material, and the magnets tend to be dirty, they have grit on them, things like that. So you clean them off, put some tape on them, and help avoid scratching, marring, discoloring your surface that you're working on. So this is a pretty good level. I used it quite a bit, but again, as I said, as money and type of work changed, I upgraded to the Stabila 4-foot level. This is a magnetic level, so it's got 4 of these magnets, or 4 groups of magnets. Each one has 2, I believe they're rare earth magnets in there. The caps on these, or these magnets, are so strong that this particular one here is broken. So if I pull it off a steel door jamb or column, it'll actually slide out a little bit and I have to push it back in. I could probably exchange this and get a new one for that because of that defect or issue. They say the Stabila levels have lifetime warranties on them. As long as the beam isn't deformed itself, you're good to go to get a new one. So these have their precision ratings for both this position and this position. So some levels, they have different calibrations or precision in one direction versus the other. But this one here is actually, let's see, 0.029 degrees. So that's a pretty good precision in both locations. So this particular level, or a lot of Stabila levels, they have removable and replaceable end caps. So you can pull these out if you need to and not have a padded end cap. The thing about these padded end caps is that they have a little bit of a standoff on one side. So if you're going up against a wall, these little rubber ends touch the wall and keep the level in place. It's easier to hold it versus a level that doesn't have those rubber pieces. You push the level against the wall, you're holding it, you're getting your pencil out, you're trying to mark it, and you're starting to go down the wall, and your level skates sideways, and now you have a curved line, or it's straight and then an angled line. So that is a nice feature. They are replaceable, and if you need a good clean edge all the way up to a corner, you can take that off so you have your aluminum all the way. So it has 3 vials, 1 in the level and 2 in the plumb positions. They also have a nail hole on one end, which is just basically like an aluminum bushing that goes all the way through the level. So this one here I haven't had to put tape on, but again, with the magnets, you'll always have little metal filings stuck to those magnets. So again, be aware of that issue. For my levels, when you start getting into the nicer levels, obviously the Stabilas are probably on the higher end of levels, but there are a lot of people now competing and creating more expensive levels. Again, like I said, I haven't played with all of them personally, but whether they're worth it or not, I don't know. So it's not a bad idea to have some sort of protection for your levels. This is just a simple Empire plastic tube. Extremely lightweight, weighs, you know, half a pound at that, and it's just got a twist cap. Drop your level in there, loop it on, or twist the cap on, and it locks in, and it works for pretty much any 4-foot level. I keep my Stabila in here just because that's the most expensive one I have. They also have padded fabric cases, which are okay too, but even the really high-end companies, they seem to go a little bit cheap on the fabric cases. I've got a Festool track saw, and I've got tracks for that, and I've got the nylon case with the zipper that's supposed to hold the 55-inch tracks, and even that one has issues, being that it's a Festool. I was kind of surprised. The zipper tab broke when it was, you know, 14 degrees outside. It just cracked and broke, so I would have preferred a metal one. But anyways, that's besides the point. We'll get into the track saws at some point. So getting into longer levels here, this level I actually found on the road. I believe it probably belonged to some guys that did concrete because there's some concrete grout paste on it. It actually is somewhat level still. It was at a turnaround or turnabout, one of those traffic circles, so I assume it probably just slid off the side of their truck and landed on the sidewalk. So I saw it there, no one else was coming, grabbed it. This one here, again, it's a Johnson tool and level. It has a precision for both up and down. This one is 0.29 degrees, which is the same as the Stabila in one direction, and 0.43 degrees in the other direction. So it is substantially different in how precise it is for level. Again, this one, everything's sealed, so you can't adjust these vials at all, but it does have a nail hole or hanger hole on either end here. So it's got rubberized caps on the end, which kind of give you a little bit of impact resistance if you drop it on the end. So that would be, I guess, what I would refer to as a beater level. You know, it's not your best, but if you get into a situation where you're screeding out concrete or something, you would screw that onto the top of a screed board or tape it on or something, and you could use that where you're not going to be afraid to get concrete on it. So as I said, with my levels, this is a 6.5 foot Empire level. So this one has 5 vials on it. They're all either plumb or level. There are no 45-degree vials, which in my opinion 45 degrees aren't worth it to get a level with it, because there are very, very few 45-degree angles in construction. Stairs don't have them. Only some roofs have that angle. So unless you've got like gates or something with decorative 45-degree braces in them, you're not going to really use a 45-degree level. This one here, it's a fairly long level that I don't know if I'll be able to let you see it or not on the video here, but lengthwise this level has a kink in it, and it's actually kinked at this vial here, and they have a little viewport. Oh. Don't do that. See how durable they are. It has a viewport in the top, which is where the kink took place. So, you know, you throw these in the back of a truck, in the back of a work van, something like that, something sits on top, and you get that bow. So unfortunately this level is less than ideal to use. So I can't quite bring myself to get rid of it yet. So we'll see. Maybe I'll straighten it out or attempt to, and then check it and see how good it is. And finally, what almost bit the dust just now, here's the 6.5 foot Stabila level. I use this for doors mainly, is what I bought it for. I did a lot towards the end of my actual time swinging a hammer. I did mostly trim work, interior carpentry, so doors, baseboards, wainscot, chair rails, cabinetry, doors and hardware, all that stuff. So this was a really nice level to have. This one does not have magnets on it. I did a lot of interior wood doors, commercial doors. So wood frames, nice finished, clear stained woodwork, things like that. So having magnets, I wasn't doing a lot of knockdown frames and metal frames, things like that. So this one, it's really nice. It's very simple. It's, you know, you slap it up against the jamb, make sure it's plumb top to bottom, and you can trace all the way down the edge and look where you need shims or relieve it where your level's rocking on a high spot, so you get a nice flat straight jamb. So using a couple levels and paying attention to what you're doing gets you a really nicely set door frame, and make sure that, you know, your door isn't kicked out on the bottom when it closes or sticking out at the top corner when it closes. So again, this one has the precision written on it, and again, it's 0.029 degrees up or down. So as far as these levels go, you know, I would say mainly a carpenter would be somebody who would need a greater selection of levels and different sizes, because you can't use efficiently a 6.5 level for, you know, leveling out the top jamb of a door frame. You know, you need a 2 foot level or something like that to get most door jambs. So probably your average person, you're looking at maybe a torpedo level, a 4 foot level, maybe a 2 foot level. If you're doing doors and framing walls and things like that, then you get into the longer, you know, 6.5 foot levels. Now, some of the levels I haven't talked about just because I haven't had them personally. I've used them. Stabila, they make an electronic level, and I'm sure somebody else does, but it's basically got a digital readout, and it will tell you the degree or pitch, percent degree of slope when you're using the level. When you are dealing with commercial construction here in the United States, I don't know, I assume most countries have some kind of disability standards for accessibility of ramps and slopes and grades and things like that, entryways to buildings. So people that might have difficulty walking, using a wheelchair, walker, cane, something like that, they have standards on how steep a slope can be. So that's where in commercial construction here in the U.S., like I said, we have ADA, or Americans with Disabilities Act standards. So anytime you're doing commercial construction, you're always looking at the difference in threshold height. You have standards of how much of an inch, quarter inch, half inch, whatever that threshold can bump up, in what distance, how sloped, your approach to a door can be. So that's where a digital level comes in really, really nice, because you can get a 2% or a 3% slope and actually measure it, whereas with a standard level you can't. For framing, typically you want to take the error of a stud being wavy or having a knot or differential shrinkage where you might have high spots in a stud. You want to take that out of the equation when you're plumbing up a wall. So you typically, if you can, you plumb off the bottom plate and the top plate, because those are going to be absolutely plumb, and you take the stud more or less out of the equation of plumbing up your wall. Over the entire length of the wall, you have enough magnitude of variation through all the studs that you get more or less a flat wall. But you don't want to rock off of one stud and have that potentially vary and drive the whole wall in or out of plumb. So they make extendable plate levels, which basically look like a really wide level, and there's two pieces. One piece slides up and it has a leg that sticks out, and then also at the bottom of the fixed portion it also sticks out. So more or less you extend the level to the height of the wall, so the top is hitting the top plate, the bottom's hitting the bottom plate, and then you plumb the wall that way, not on a stud. So those are two pretty common ones. Milwaukee, they have their Red Stick line, which is their brand of levels, or their trade name for their levels now. They have a cement screed level, so it's actually like a cement screed rail, but it's got a level built into the top of it. So you basically a combination of a magnesium screed and an aluminum level put together. I actually got to talk to one of the masons on my job site just last week, and he was using a 4-foot version, and I asked him how he liked it, and he said he really, really liked it. He thought it was a slick thing. The only thing, you've got plastic viewports, and you get concrete all over your hands, and you accidentally touch it. Concrete doesn't come off that easily. I mean, you can wipe it, but to try and wipe something clean that you got to look through while you're doing a concrete pour, it'd be challenging. So it might get dirty really fast and really hard to see what you're doing. But from the person I talked to with that particular type of screed level, they really liked it. The other thing that I saw just recently is DeWalt. They're also coming out with their whole line of levels. They actually have a 4-foot, is the only size I've seen it in so far, a carbon fiber body level. So it's a box beam, and it's made out of carbon fiber. So it's supposed to be around, I think it was like 2 pounds for a 4-foot level. Don't know if that's really heavy or light, because honestly I haven't weighed them out. But that's another interesting thing. So, and then I guess just on a fun side note, a couple of my coworkers, one of them had a level like this, same size, Stabila, and he loaned it to the boss's son, the owner of the company's son, and he went up in a scissor lift and managed to drop my buddy's level down. It bounced off the wall and got in between the cross arms of the scissor lift. Then he lowered the scissor lift, which went down, and crunched his Stabila level. So in that particular case, it's a non-warranty thing, and so he had to go buy him a new one, which was cool because he actually bought him a real Stabila level 1-for-1 replacement, which if you've been in construction very long, somebody breaks a tool, half the time they never buy you a new one, and when they do buy you a new one, 70% of the time they get you the cheapest thing they can find, and they're like, here's this piece of garbage to replace your nice one. So anyways, if you've been there, hit the thumbs up. I've had people cut through sawhorses and break magnetic sweepers and all kinds of stuff of mine and be like, oh, thanks for letting me use that. And then they take off and then you discover that they ruined it. So anyways, that is about it. I'll throw a little clip in here at the end showing how to check your level. And remember to like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, give us comments. We got pretty good comments going on. We have one commenter who's just about a moderator on our site, I would say, with the amount of comments he makes. He has a lot of really good comments. Iberizu, I believe, is how you pronounce your name or your YouTube name. If that's not right, I'm sorry. But yeah, he gives a lot of good insight on carpentry tools. He seems to be my doppelganger running around out there somewhere in the world. Not quite sure where though. But he has a lot of input. He's got a lot of experience with these two. And, you know, we see people asking questions and other people answering questions. So feel free to jump in there. I'm not an expert on everything by any means. So let's hear your 2 cents. If I'm out in left field, let me know. So anyways, yeah, until next time, this is Dan with Dan and Sarah Makers. Get out there and do something. All right, so the final thing we have, question-wise, I received a little while ago, is how do we know our level is level? So that is a good question, because we need to be able to test our levels and figure out if they are actually true or not. Are we building everything crooked, or are we building it well? The simple way to test your level is just to pick a flat surface if you're checking the level, lay the level on here. If we see the bubble is, like on this side, it's actually touching this left edge, we take our level and we spin it around 180 degrees. Same surface is touching what we just set it on. We set our level in pretty much exactly the same spot if we can, and we look to see if the bubble is in the same position as it was before. So I'm not talking that it's in the exact same position, but relative to the location here. So as you can see here, the bubble is again kissing this left line as we look at it. So that tells me that the table, workbench here, might be just a hair low on the right side, but the level is good in that orientation when we're actually looking at level, because the vial, or the bubble in the vial, is equidistant. If the bubble, both sides, was like this, and then I turned it around, and again, it was pretty much doing the same thing, I would say the level's level or true, but the surface is way off. Now, if it was doing this in one orientation, and I flipped it around, and it was now doing that, where it's now hugging the other side. Let's see if we can get it to focus. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. There we go. If it now is hugging the other side, so it started out like this, and now it's doing this, we know that that vial's off. So, same thing goes for measuring plumb or testing plumb. Put it up against a corner, a wall, a door frame, something like that. Spin your level around. Just be aware that as you get longer and longer levels, make sure you keep looking at the same vial that you're checking each time. So the vial may be at the top the first time you look at it, maybe at the bottom the next time. But that's how you check your level for accuracy.